Welcome to the podcast of the impossible. I'm Peter Wood, and my guest today is speaker, event professional, and sleight of hand practitioner, Joel DeWyer. Hello, Joel.
The third rail of magic.
The electrified third rail. Don't pee on him. So yeah, last time I did a little cliffhanger tease, and I'm sure that like folks have been just Googling you like crazy, I'm just very excited to find this out now that I've built it up way too much. I want to give me your elevator pitch for what you do as your regular job, but then like I said, I'm curious to know how that has informed your magic and vice versa.
Yeah, sure. So I just started my 20th year at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Awesome.
We're called different jobs, but I'm currently the director of campus life operations, and I get to work with our event and conference services and facility and operations team that supports all non-academic related activities and events on UMBC's campus.
Okay.
So we rent our activities out to external people. We, of course, support a vibrant variety of student organization events throughout the year and many departmental events as well. And so, yeah, there's an event planning element in terms of, setting up and offering the venues, setting up the venues, running the audio and production on the venues. Mm-hmm. The only thing we don't really do is we are not the entertainers. Right. So it's the other side of event entertainment that I get to do in my day job. And then it's the performing side that I get to do when I moonlight.
Right. Yeah, no, I find it fascinating that you're on either side of that relationship, sort of, you know.
And I'm mediocre at both. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Jack, if you want to really mess up my day, the jack of all trades, master of none is a phrase that terrifies me because you know how much random stuff I like to do, and it always scares me. What? Like, if I had just picked a lane, would I be really good right now? So yeah, that's always frustrating. So I'm just curious. We've talked about this a little bit before, but like when somebody rents the university, when they rent part, a ballroom space or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is this typically other academic type group? Like, is it conferences? Is it corporate? Like, who is booking the ballroom at UMBC if it's not a student? If it's not a UMBC event that's happening?
Yeah, we get all types of businesses and organizations. We do have corporate retreats. We do have corporate seminars. We do a lot of athletic-based camps. We do a lot of youth, academic or intellectual based camps in the summertime. Like, so summer conferences is can be a very lucrative time for a university. Most of your students are summer school program or summer school sessions at most institutions, but like the density of students is very low and your residence halls are virtually vacant. Mm-hmm. And so what you do is transform your operation into a hotel operation. And we can offer housing, we offer dining, we offer catering, we offer event space, we offer outdoor athletic fields and recreation. So like we offer transit. So we offer sort of like a one-stop shop full service package for anyone who wants to. We have religious groups come and do their annual retreats.
Cool. Right.
It runs the gamut.
Okay. Yeah. No, I guess I knew about summer camps and I knew about like but I guess I never thought about like.
Yeah, your brother gets involved with that a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, I never thought about a business coming in and renting out the ballroom. But I guess that makes sense. I mean, it's a ballroom, so why not?
IBM did a very, very high end corporate event several years ago now, several years before COVID. Mm-hmm. That was very, very high end, very, cool. Very nice. It was in our ballroom with breakout spaces. And it was great.
Nice. Yeah. That's so what kind of bleed over would you say, like, is there anything that you think of that from you've picked up in one that's useful for the other,
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know that I have a really good answer. It's probably mostly just subconscious or intuitive for me now. I mean, I think having the business, understanding the business, the revenue side, the business side, what makes it worth while for a venue to engage with someone who's pitching some business to them has really helped. Also, understanding just the financial impact of cost. If you're a performer and you're looking to go four-wall something, or you need to buy your own equipment instead of renting it. I mean, like, understanding those costs has been very helpful. But also, I think just understanding, like, what's possible in different size venues that can create different kinds of intimate experiences for an audience, because we do all sorts of setup styles in our large spaces and our small spaces, and so seeing that over the years has given me some feedback on, when I see a setup from my team, I'm like, oh, I could do a show in a space like this way.
Yeah.
And, it's not that big of a space, but this is kind of nice. And so that's been really helpful. But my other colleague, the other side of the house, my better half, Jen Dress, who's the director of campus life engagement, like, she's the one who books all the large scale acts. And so knowing a little bit about that behind the scenes with the contract stuff, my office processes a lot of entertainment performer contracts for DJs that come and perform, speakers that come and perform. And so seeing some of that legal side as well has been incredibly helpful as I worked on sort of my own more basic, simple, but legally sufficient agreement.
Right.
So when you're booking, when people book you.
Right. No, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, I'm sure if you're on the other end of those contracts, then you see things that you like or don't like, or that drive you crazy or whatever. And then I can see that being helpful for sure.
Yes, definitely.
That's cool. Before we forget, we don't really want to have this podcast be about like segments and official interviews, but I did think it would be fun if we came up with some sort of like a recurring thing or a game. And so thinking about my penchant for the impossible, I was trying to come up with what made sense. And I was thinking about the two truths and a lie game.
And because all magicians are liars.
Yeah. And what I thought when I was sort of thinking about how we might do something like that, I sort of turned it on its head where, if I share with you one, if I find out something that sounds impossible, right? And so I'm going to tell you three things, and all of them sound impossible, right? But one of them actually happened. And I think the main reason why I wanted to flip flop that is because it is easier for me to make up two lies after I have found out an impossible thing, as opposed to starting with a truth and then cooking up two similar lies. And I guess what always bothers me about the game is that it turns into like, all right, here are two truths and a lie. My favorite color is red. My favorite color is blue. My favorite color is green. And it's like, well, that's not like, it doesn't give you enough to go off of,
But that strategy, I might use that next time.
Yeah, no, the more boring you can make it. But then you create here. I'm going to move us up full screen here. Oh, no, I'm not. That was a bad idea. There we go. Okay. That's just a little something. For those of you who are watching this video version of it, you get to see some extra fun stuff. If you're listening in your earbuds, that's totally fine, and we're happy to have you along for the ride. But you get to see how much talking with my hands I do if you're on the video version of it, and you get to see what's going on at Joel's house. So what did you? How about you? Do you want to start, or should I start? Because you made one, right? You prepared one.
We're doing two lies and a truth, right?
Yes. What I have prepared is two lies and a truth, but I'm willing to play by whatever rules you want to play by. Yeah.
Hey, it's your world. I just live in it.
It's fine. Who's going first?
I am the world's worst. I'll go first. I mean, I'm the world's worst at this game.
Okay.
So we'll point them and then redeem ourselves because you're probably way better at this.
We'll see. Here, I'm gonna put some. I have to
put my glasses.
I have some segment music here.
Oh, hey, all right.
There we go. This is the. We're doing.
Is it a lead in or is it going to play the whole time?
It's going to play the whole time. It's just light background.
Two lies and truth, brought to you by the dangerous third rail of magic, Joel DeWyer.
Checkers.
Number one.
Yep.
In high school, I was a part of our boys basketball state championship team.
Boys basketball championship team.
Yep, state championship.
Okay. All right.
And I'm from Ohio.
Okay.
Number 2, I am the only member of my family to have successfully pursued a graduate degree.
Okay.
Number 3, I have written several screenplays that have been considered by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. I will give you 30 seconds. Good luck.
Okay. So, and again, 2 of those are a lie.
2 of those are not true.
And 1 of them is true.
1 of them is very true.
Huh. I'm going to say that it is a lie.
First of all, wait, before you tell me,
Are
these good? Did I do a good job? Are these good? Is it hard? Because I'm terrible at this game.
No, well, so I guess where you start to get into the reverse, I know that you know that I know that you know, is, all right, I will talk through my thought process, as I hope you will for when it's your turn. So I believe that it is unlikely that you have had several scripts considered for major motion pictures. So I would put that on the high end of unlikelihood of the 3. That is the least likely. So I feel like I can discount that right out of the gate. And then the other 2, I feel like it should be surprising that you are the first person in your family to go for a graduate degree. So I feel like you would hope that would be seen as, well, certainly someone as collegiate as Joel DeWyer comes from a long line of professors and adjunct faculty emeritus.
I do have that professorial look at this.
Yeah. So like, and then the basketball seems very specific. Like the only thing I wonder about is there are some times where when someone is making up a lie, they will purposefully add details to it.
Oh, right, sure. Yeah.
And now, not that again, that's all I have to go off of are those little guideposts. So given all that, I'm going to say for $10,000 and the bouquet of flowers, I believe the lie is, or no, that I believe that you are lying about the basketball championship and you are lying about the screenplay. And I believe the truth is that you are the first person in your family to get an undergraduate degree. Drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll sound effect.
You need the failure music from Price is Right.
Oh, nice. Oh, all right. Tell me. Tell me.
I was not a part of a high school championship basketball team, although people had high hopes for us when we were in high school.
Okay.
I am not the only member of my family. My father has a master's degree as well, but I have written several screenplays that have been considered by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
That's so cool. So tell me more. Tell me more about this. How did you?
I mean, just really quickly. I mean, it sounds better than it is because I'm a magician and that's what I do. No, when I was in college, I was very into films. I minored in film studies, but I was very into script writing.
Okay.
And so the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has a very prestigious screenplay competition, and the winner gets to be made into a movie.
Oh,
and
cool.
So every script that gets submitted gets read by several different types of producers, and I'm sure low-level interns.
Sure.
And but they keep them. They also retain rights to them as you sort of give up some rights to them when you submit to the competition.
Sure.
Even if it's not me. But I've entered that competition 2 or 3 times.
That's cool.
Back in college and never won, but did nonetheless.
Still,
those screenplays are also with the Library of Congress, so you can actually go look them up.
Well, all right, that's pretty. Sorry. So I mean, you not only have had something looked at by the MPAA, but also MPAA does the ratings. Is that it? Motion Picture
Arts and Sciences. Yeah, MPAA.
Yeah, but that last one is an A, not an S.
Academy of Motion Picture Arts. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And because MPAA does the ratings, but that's not the Academy. That they don't give out the Oscars, right? The group of people who give out the Oscars is the people who read your scripts, right? Am I the right?
Yeah, I mean, like the MPAA tells you what movies to go watch that will never win an Oscar.
Right. Yeah,
but actually, script writing is so funny because script writing actually lends itself to what we do too, or what I do.
Yeah, well,
as much as what I do in my day job.
And I do want to talk about that because you are more regimented than most. I feel in terms of your
Probably.
scripting, and even from the standpoint of like the stuff that I have scripted out is barely formatted properly, and you do a really good job of formatting it in a script format. Right?
Mhm.
So I assume that came from like you've got this interest in film and script writing as well, and so why not
Mhm.
do it in your magic, right?
Yeah, no, I read like several actual movie scripts written by the original directors, original authors, and then the screenwriter's Bible, I think it was called, was like the tome that every screenwriter really studied when you want to get into screenwriting. And
Okay.
I just carried that format forward because it is so easy to follow. It is so easy to look at as you read it on a page. Um, so not only is it a good sense of direction for the performer, but like if I, abandon a particular show or act and want to come back to it after a few years, like I
Mhm.
can read that script and remember exactly what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So that's always been really helpful. But yeah, no. So I gave a TED style talk. Gosh, 6 years ago. It was like 2015 or 2016.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I
at
remember it.
UMBC.
Uh-huh.
And we worked with a professional TED talk coach
Hmm.
who worked with on our talks. We had, I forget, it was like 10 or 12 minutes. And because I take script writing so seriously when it comes to performance or speaking in general, her initial feedback to me was, you can tell that this script is very deliberate. Right. And what she
Okay.
meant by that was compared to the other speaker scripts as they were working out, because they didn't really do script writing previously in their past.
Uh-huh.
Like she was commenting about there are deliberate tempos in the writing, the
Cool.
dialogue, or the things that I was trying to say. And so she knew that I had been doing that work before, because for me, like when I'm writing a script for a show, it's as much about the tempos and the cadence as it is about the words.
Right.
Which is why I take the regimented approach that I do, because if I don't, my fear is I will get it in rehearsal, but not carry it over through to performance, and I'll forget a gem of a particular cadence for a particular effect. So that everything
Right.
lines up at just the right beat. There's that right pregnant pause, and then boom. And I
Interesting.
for some reason, it starts with like just organic rehearsals, which turns into words on a page, which goes back to rehearsals, which refines the words on a page, and then I'm set.
Uh-huh.
I have to write it down, because writing it is where I craft the beats.
And I mean, it almost sounds musical what you're
Yeah,
describing,
yeah,
which is cool.
I
Like,
yeah, and like whether it's speech writing or performance scripting, I approach it the same way.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think. Yeah, I think that a lot of not only, I mean, I've seen again, you have actions and stage directions in there,
Mhm. A little bit. Yeah.
but how they fit together from what you're describing, like that's an important. It's not just the words you say, it's the like you the cadence, but also how it lines up with your actions, and that's all very it sounds
Honestly,
rhythmic,
yes, the action segments are not meant to be like descriptive actions. The only reason I include, like in a movie script, you want a lot of descriptive action and less dialogue. But in a
Sure.
magic performance, obviously that's going to be a little bit different, because you're sort of presenting and you're speaking about something.
Right.
And so I only include those action descriptions as a way to break up, so I don't have one long column of dialogue on a page. And as
Hmm.
I script, I can memorize it in chunks. And
Right.
really, the actions, it's just blocking. And now I move to the left side of the stage. It's not like descriptive mechanics for sleight of hand or anything like that,
Sure.
because I find that just makes it easier to read and look at when I need to jog my memory about the beats, the cadence, and the words I'm supposed to say.
Right. Right. No, that's fascinating. That's a really cool. I mean, again, I know that scripting is one of
You
those
don't script at
things.
all, though, do you?
I can't say not at,
Just say you don't. You don't. You're
I
trying to say you
don't.
do, but you
I
really
don't
don't.
at all. No, I have I have I have in the
I
past,
have on occasion.
and I probably will in the
Now.
future.
Okay.
It's so I think it depends on I have a lot of things written down that but I think rarely is that the first step. That is rarely an early step for me. Usually to be perfectly honest, I want to put just the least amount of effort possible to give the idea a fighting chance but not feel like I wasted
Mm-hmm.
time if it's a bad idea. And so normally what I can do is, and that's true for both the presentation as well as the props. Like if rare when I'm building something from scratch, I normally try to make a duct taped together. I mean, you're not going to know that, but I'm going to use hot glue and you're not going to realize it for the version 1 prop, because I just want to get the idea out there and see if this is something that that the audiences like and that I like. And so I think my scripting ends up being that as well, where
Mm-hmm.
I sort of just, I have sort of an outline in my head of the beats and the ideas that I want to get across. And then unfortunately, what ends up happening is that it's just the script exists, but it exists in my head and it gets edited over time over many
Yeah,
performances, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. And you get the repetitions. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes sense as a method for you. Yeah. I
yeah.
think one of the other things in script writing that I find really helpful, maybe this is just true for me,
Mhm.
is I find it to be an incredibly humbling experience
Okay.
because to what you had said about, not wasting your time on something that might be rubbish.
Right.
Like I have written many scripts versions for many effects that I enjoy doing. And at the end of it and after rehearsing, I reach a point where I'm like, this is total crap. I can't
Yeah.
possibly get up in front of an audience and try to sell them that this is believable. What the hell am I doing?
Sure,
And I'll
sure.
ditch
Okay.
it and I'll
Yeah.
be like, be yourself, just entertain them.
Mhm.
And so like it's a very humbling process for me
Yeah.
where I'm like, I have these David Copperfield story-like aspirations for a
Uh-huh,
particular
uh-huh.
effect. I'm like, there's no way anyone's going to buy this at the end of it. The other thing I'll say it does too is it's a good practice. Um, if you're not comfortable with public speaking, it is a
Mhm.
good way to get verbal tics.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you have a little bit of acting in you and you have something scripted out and you can read that in a way that, and you've given me this feedback before in performances, is
Mhm.
sound more like, make it sound more authentic and not like
Mhm.
you're reciting something. If you do that, the verbal tics go away, and then eventually you don't need the script anymore. You can get up in front of a group and the verbal tics are gone. The ums, the
Sure.
okays, and the repeated things that we say from time to time just to fill space because we're trying to think of the next thing we're supposed to say.
Right.
And I found that to
Right.
be true with it
Yeah.
a lot.
No, I think, well, I mean, just magic is it's such a challenge where if you are doing stand-up comedy, then all you have to worry about are the words. I don't want to make it sound like it's easy, but when you're performing magic, you are doing something secretive and you are trying to keep that a secret. And on top of that, you're saying these words. And so certainly the more you can feel confident in the words that you're going to say, like that practice feels just as important as practicing the action that you're going to do that is supposed to
Mm-hmm.
look normal but is actually secret sleight of hand, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it totally makes sense to especially if you're in uncharted territory, whether it's a new venue or a new piece or whatever. It makes sense to have that scripted, just like you've got your moves practiced.
Well, I think if you're a regimented scripter like me,
Mhm.
I must. The hard thing for some people is to, once you've carved it out in stone, the willingness to be flexible and deviate from it.
Yep,
And
sure.
I think you have to be willing to do that. You have to
Yeah.
be willing to accept that, first of all, what you have written down could be completely wrong in a performance environment. And you have to be willing to be like, okay, well, I can't do it that way again.
Yeah.
And either go back to the square one in the drawing board or be willing to tweak, and in an earlier episode, we talked about our post-mortems after Willard
Mhm.
and Wood shows.
Mhm.
A lot of time talking about the words in the script and what we say and how we say it and when we say it. And we would go back and inject that the next month and see how that played. And
Sure.
I think that's really important. You have to be willing to admit you're wrong and that there, certain environments or certain audiences and certain styles like will receive it better a different way.
Right.
So yeah, it's a ball of clay more than it is, a defined thing
Yeah, no,
at
I
any
think
point.
that, yeah, that's, and also, and one of the things that I love about doing a postmortem with friends is that a lot of times you are so much in your own head as the performer that it's hard for you to listen to the audience. And there are times where I felt like the reaction wasn't quite the same as what you guys were saying it was. And so it's, you can get a similar sense if you set up a video camera and record a show, and that way you can be fully present as the performer and then later go back and watch it as the editor. But I think it's even more helpful if, especially when I knew that you were going to try something different in this performance. And so now I'm watching not only the performance as a whole, but also, okay, he's going to try to do that new thing, that new angle on whatever. And I'm particularly while you are working hard to deliver it the way you hoped to, I am listening hard to how the audience is responding to it. And I think that's one of the great things about sort of working on a magic team like that, is that level of collaboration and knowing what everyone's goals are,
Well, I would say, and I hope this isn't too harshly critical. I mean, I think the less, the lower end performances, the bad performances I've seen over the years, I could probably correctly guess whether they script at all. And I'm not saying it's the best method and you should or you shouldn't. I think it's depending on who you are and how you create. Like you and I are very different styles, and so we create in different ways, but we create high quality things just differently. Sure. But like the worst performances I've ever seen, I think when you don't script at all, or you don't think through or rehearse what you're going to say, what happens is your own personal insecurities manifest in the performance, and you sound a whole lot less confident, or you're cracking bad jokes because you're just trying to fill space and you're trying to be funny, freaking out, and like they're not reacting to you. What do you do? If you scripted it, it gives you a space to be your character fully. Sure. Yep. Because you don't have to, to the audience's perspective, hopefully it seems organic, but from your perspective, it's rote and it's in the can. And so you just have to live those words as your character. Right. And your personal insecurities can hide in the dark until after the show when you break yourself down on the car ride home.
Right. Yeah. No,
would you agree or disagree?
No, I think so. I think
there's an element of truth to it.
Yeah. And definitely from this, especially I think if there's any level of your character being different from your actual, person. And we get in, I don't want to get hung up on the terms, but like a lot of people would, I really love the word persona, as opposed to character, where like, I feel like a character is almost like a caricature, like you're playing someone very different. Right. Whereas a persona is a version of you. And in this case, I have this persona that I present on stage. But if you are living in that sort of, what would my persona, or what would my character say nice. in that instance, then you don't have to, honestly, the whole point is you're not thinking as much on your feet because you've already done all the thinking. You've thought carefully about what you want to say when you were sitting there at a computer with nothing else going on. And now that you're in the heat of the moment and you're trying to, take a ball that's hidden in your left hand and hide it in your right hand, and you're saying words, it's much better to have those words be something that you thought about when you were focused on just that, as opposed to off the cuff,
And that's why I think the cadence thing is helpful to me in the writing, because there is a flow and a beat. And the only way I can describe it is I believe I can feel it in the course of my performance enough that the sleight of hand is actually part of the beats and becomes easier to do.
Oh, yeah,
I am
sure.
Just that I'm doing a secret move at any given point as I am. Right. I'm saying this word at this particular moment. The move is happening fluidly with it, and then it's done.
Right.
And so those beats and that motion, it all flows and goes together. And for me, that's always made the moments when the heat is on a lot easier.
That makes a lot of sense.
At least psychologically, if not practically.
Well, yeah, I think that's great. That's great advice for, our friend who's listening, who's thinking about, even if you're thinking about just learning a couple of tricks to do for family and friends,
or
having
speaking
that
to
script.
Bruce.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. In any form.
We've all seen a wide variety of people speaking off the cuff, and how often that can go poorly. So yeah. No, I think that's awesome advice, and thank you for sharing it here today. And I'm excited to have learned that the Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts and Sciences and Motion Picture Association was excited to read some of your scripts. So that's
clearly
cool.
They have no taste in films, as mine were not selected.
Well, they have just as much taste in film as they do in creating a memorable initialism that is there.
And can I also just say for the audience too, that your comments about persona, I know we're probably running out of time. Your comments about persona, I think, are spot on for you in particular, because as you are Peter Wood, the collector of the impossible, in real life, you're also Peter Wood, the hoarder of everything.
Sure.
So if you ever get a chance to visit Peter's house, his Gallery of the Impossible is a spectacle that is really cool to see. And his workshop is a spectacle that is really cool to not go into. It's unsafe.
No, it's that's very true. I mean, it's in the name, workshop. Like it's nowhere in there is the word museum or gallery or clean. No, it is a work
or clean
shop. Yeah, that's what the space is there for. If you're watching this video, you've been seeing underneath Joel the whole time there. His website is joeldeweyermagic.com. For our listeners, that's JOELDEY. Sorry.
Try again. Take two.
There might be show notes. Okay.
It's written on the screen for you.
It is, right? And you think I'd be able to,
Reading's hard.
Joel is spelled the way you expect Joel. It's JOEL, right? That's not crazy. And DeWyer is basically like you'd expect it. There's an E in there, and I just want people to know about that. That's true.
It's going to be terrible.
So it's Joel and then DEWYER magic.com, joeldeweyermagic.com. Oh man, you should upgrade your server now because of all the traffic.
I should also buy Joel
DEYER. Absolutely. Well, speaking of websites that I have purchased that are variations on other things, if you want to check out my public shows, social media, and special projects, I share all of that over at oftheimpossible.com, as in collector of the impossible, but just the end of it there. Big thanks, Joel DeWyer. Thanks for being here. Appreciate your time. Yep, absolutely. See you next time.